I think so too.
Okay, I think we are a go. I
All
hope
right,
so.
let's see.
Hopefully,
You think?
the more I do this, the more I get a little bit better at it.
I see that we are live.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah, we are there.
good news. That's real good news.
Good news. All right.
So,
Let's see.
okay,
Nice.
so I guess for anybody jumping into this, welcome. I am Devin,
I am Paul.
and this is Joe. Uh, And we are just going to talk about some games we're really excited for BGGcon. It's coming up here in what, 3 weeks? 3 weeks from now, we will be playing games together in person.
That's right.
3 weeks from now will be about 2 to 3 days of in deep of these games, almost halfway, a little bit over halfway done.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to fry my brain for 5 days straight, right? But yeah, so we're here. We like to always get together and talk about the games we kind of plan to play. And so we thought, why don't we do this live? We actually did a live
Yeah.
stream yesterday. Paul and I had a blast. It was a blast having people in the community contacting us, talking, and so we thought, hey, we'll do it again.
And yeah, I mean, if there is anyone out there or anything like that, if there's any games that you want us to talk about or to play or anything like that, just leave it in the chat. We'll look it up and decide if that's something that's going to hit the table in a couple weeks.
That's right.
So we can give it a couple minutes just to see if some people hop on here.
Yeah.
But Joe, it's been a while since I've seen you in person last. I guess that was back in Ardmore at the library.
I know it's been just been me and the wife having to play some games. However, I know you were busy one weekend, and Devin and I got to play some games at the inaugural Meet Me Halfway event.
That's right.
Where we meet halfway between Oklahoma and Texas at a at a public library. We had a good time, and I see you have on the Board Games for Two T-shirt.
I do. I'm repping you guys tonight.
And then we have another one that'll make its debut probably in the at BGGcon. And
Uh,
I'm excited to hang out with you guys. I miss you guys a lot. I wish we were closer, but I will be looking forward to spending a good 4 to 5 days with you guys.
For
yeah.
sure, yeah.
And so I guess anybody watching this most likely knows what BGG is, and maybe probably knows what BGGcon is, but it's a board gaming convention put on by BGG. Paul and I live in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and that is where they happen to headquarter. It's where they put on both BGGcon and BGG Spring. BGGcon being their biggest event, gets the most developers and publishers and attendance and everything. So it's just a 5 day board gaming event where we can go be nerds and play board games with other nerds.
Yeah, so we went to BGG Spring. That was my first convention, but I'll be excited because I know both Devin and Paul have experienced BGG Con before, and I'll be looking forward to some of the differences. I don't do super well in large crowds, but man, I had a great time at BGG Spring. Paul, what do you think a couple of the differences may be?
Yeah, so I know we talked about it a little bit after BGG Spring, some things that we would want to do a little bit differently. And when Devin and I went back in 2019, one of the most fun experiences that we had was just kind of joining random people in the big gaming hall there. Um, I remember to this day there was an older lady just sitting there who had this game that we had never seen before and asked if Devin and I want to play. I want to say it was like 11 o'clock at night or something, right? And we were these. The game ended up being Victorian Masterminds, I think is what it's called. But we were building these oh, what's the word?
Mechs. It was
Yeah,
very steampunky type of game.
steampunky. That's what it was, and it was like steampunk planes and helicopters and like all this kind of weird stuff. And man, it was so much fun. Like I don't remember the game that well, but I just remember it was such a blast, and we all had such a good time.
Yeah, I enjoy that part too. So I like both the the three of us playing really like the games we want to play, the games we're going to kind of talk about today. But I also enjoy like seeing people playing games I've never seen before, and you see it spread out across the table, and just like, wow, that looks so awesome. And then you're walking around, and people have their needing player sign, and you sit down, and they teach you a game, and you play a game you've never heard of before, and just have fun.
And I think we got a couple games on this list that we did see at BGG Spring, and we thought to ourselves, maybe that should be on our BGG Con list.
Yeah, you know what? At least we should kind of start talking. But I do think that the one we saw over and over, kind of a hit game now, is Foundations of Rome, right? Uh,
Yes.
that caught our attention so much. The big,
Every time.
chunky pieces. Every time we walked by it, we're like, look at that game. That looks really sweet. And Paul, you've now had a chance to play the game.
Yeah, so I've talked about it a couple times. I've gone up to the D20 Tavern here in town, and they actually had Foundations of Rome there. And I've seen this game a couple times, and man, this box is massive. I mean, my camera doesn't even show how big my hands are apart here, right? Like, it's just massive, and honestly, it looked kind of intimidating. But then the more I got to reading about it, and then I look it up on BGG, and it's a 1.9 weight, and I was like, wait, this is an easy game? Um, we got it to the table, literally read the rule book within, 10, 15 minutes, got it to the table, and it's just a polynomial game with these giant miniatures, and it is a blast. I know we had some trouble finding these easy filler games at BGG Spring, and I think this one will fill that slot perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an odd shape, right? It's a huge box, but I know it's kind of down your alley, Paul, the polynomio type. So looking
Yes.
forward to it.
it's funny. So when you initially played it, did you know it was a polynomial game?
Yes, so yeah, I did because, like I said, I'd been seeing it around, and at first, I just saw it was this giant box, and I saw these miniatures, and it's like, man, everybody's like loving this game. What can it be? So then I actually started looking into it and researching it, and I was like, oh, it's just massive. It's a very accessible, massive game.
Yeah. So I don't know. I it is one I am definitely excited to try just because I want to play with those pieces.
Yeah, and I mean, there's really not going to be many other chances to play it. I mean, besides going up there, but it's not a game that I will ever own. I'm not willing to put up that amount of money for such a simple, accessible game, but it is a ton of fun.
And to be honest, we only have so much space, in our houses too. And for a big game like this, that's just a polynomial, it's kind of maybe a smaller footprint game may fit the same bill. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. And I will tell you, I'm also looking forward to getting to the table one that we got to the table in BGG Spring and giving it another shot is Food Chain Magnate. Because we
Yeah.
had so much fun with that game that I think you're ready to give it another shot because that's kind of a Devin's, really heavy thinker. And I just think that maybe the first turn kind of set him back. So, Devin, I'm sure you're ready for Food Chain Magnate, your revenge.
I really am. We played that last time, and I was the one who learned the game. I'm the one who taught you guys the game, and then in my head, the game was going to play out so much differently than it actually did. And so I kind of got set back from the beginning. I learned from my mistakes, and it was fine. It was one of the few times that I've just lost like brutally, and I still really did have fun playing the game.
Did you really lose that bad on it? I don't remember it was that
Yeah,
bad.
Paul, you
Yeah,
and I were pretty close, and I think
I was miles
because
behind.
remember the scoring's all about money, and I think Devin was half,
Yeah.
at least half of ours.
Okay. Yeah, no, I do remember. I remember being a bit intimidated when this game came out. or when it came to the table for us, just because I had heard such things about it, about how you can lose from the beginning and this and that, and I don't know, just the way that it came out, all the pieces, I guess just my reactions to it, or just what it needed to happen, and it ended up being a very very fun game, and from what I thought wasn't a very thematic looking game, it's extremely thematic. Like it is one of the most thematic games that I've played, and yeah, I'm super excited to get it back to the table.
Yeah, and I think this isn't one that any of us will probably own, but
Hmm.
this may be a nice once in a while kind of convention. So we're willing to give it another shot. So I'm pretty pumped for this one again.
I'm ready to start shooting out those ads and those billboards. I know I went heavy on that last time, and then Joe came in and swooped in and started selling all the
Drink
beer and
all the
all the
drinks.
drinks. We
So
had the food and you had the drinks.
So Joe, you mentioned, but I could definitely see this being like our game to play. Once every 6 months at the convention, it's like that's when we're gonna play Food Chain, right? When neither of us
Mhm.
buy it, I don't honestly. I know at least the game used to be super hard to get hold of. I don't. I
Mhm.
haven't followed it
It,
since then.
it still kind of is, and it's not the cheapest one either.
Yeah, and so like just not one that we would, because really the people I would play with are you two, and so
Hmm.
hey, we do it at a convention every time, and it's long enough between sessions that we don't totally like remember exactly what we did, and it's kind of all new and fresh, and yeah, so I am definitely excited to try that again, and I really think that'll be like every day we kind of have that like, oh, this is going to be our big game of the day. Like for one of those days, that will definitely be that game.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and did we play with the expansion last time?
We did not. We did not play with the ketchup mechanic,
That's what
if
it
you
was.
will.
So yeah, I think definitely we get that catch-up mechanic in this time, just to kind of change it up a little bit.
Okay, what is another game that we're kind of really?
Catch-up. Catch-up or catch-up. Which one is it? I guess it could be both. Play on words.
I think it is actually ketchup, right? Like the condiment, but it is
It is,
supposed to
it is,
be
it is the condiment, but it's
it.
supposed to be like, yeah, the
It's what adds in catching up in the game. You know,
Hey,
yeah.
Devin, I see it's oh, I can't say it now. Martique back from yesterday's live
Oh
stream.
yeah, hey, welcome back. This time not playing any Dice Thrones, just talking about some games we're excited for, but definitely welcome back. All right, moving on. Another game that I would put, I guess, more in the filler category for us is Scout. It has been like the hot game lately. Everybody's kind of talking about it, and I'm really excited to take it. It's not a trick taking; it's more of like a card building game. Um, but yeah, I'm
So
really
funny enough,
excited.
I think it was our last day there, or at BGG Spring, or maybe the night before. We actually looked for this game, and we tried to find it, but it was just out because everybody was checking it out, and it was just never in the library. So it is one that we tried to play then, but like you said, it's just been a hot game. Everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's been saying great things about it. So I'm hoping we can actually find it this time and get it to the table.
yeah. I don't know too much about this one, but this is one that my wife was encouraging us to try. So I'm pretty eager. If she's heard about it, I'm pretty eager to play it with you guys.
Yeah, so it's kind of a neat thing where you're playing, whatever, in this case, pairs or whatnot, but every card has a number on the top and the bottom, and when you add the card to your hand is your only time to decide what that card's going to be for you. So as you add it into your hand, you would make it a 7 or a 3 or an 8 or whatever, and then from then on it's permanently stuck in your hand. You cannot reorganize your hand. So it's permanently stuck in that position, and it's permanently stuck as that card, right? And so you can only play pairs if they're next to each other in your hand. So you kind of have to manipulate your hand, whatnot, and try and score the most points. So yeah, I am really excited.
Yeah, I've like I said, I've seen it around, and I don't know much about it. I like those little carts that were there. It looks, I guess it looks more than just a card game. Like,
No,
I don't know.
I
No, it's
think it's
just
yeah, it is just a card game for
okay.
sure. But yeah,
Nice.
it's it's gonna be excited to play that one.
Yeah, and like you said, that's just going to be another little one of those filler games that, after one of those hard games, like might like Food Chain.
Which we need, right? That's the kind
Yep.
of the lesson we learned last time was we literally booked our schedule nothing but like, oh, heavy thinky Euro brain burner games, and it was like, so then we had no fillers planned, and we just kind of had to grab stuff that were like, oh, we'll try this, and we got some bad beats in there, but
Bad beats.
it was so this time we want to kind of plan for those.
So I think y'all might hate me. I think we need to do bad beats this time again.
I'll never play that game again. I'll never play that game again.
Yeah. We'll play it again. It's going to be midnight, and we'll play it again.
Okay, so one I really want to play with you guys, I have played, I know both of y'all haven't, is Scythe, right? An immensely popular game. I have played it with my brothers, and my brothers are not big board gamers. They aren't the deep strategy type. So it wasn't the Scythe experience that I really wanted. And so I really want to play that with you guys and get that experience because people love the game, and I just want that depth to really kind of see it.
So I don't know much about Scythe. I know it's a Stonemeyer game, and he puts out great games regularly. From my understanding, it was a war game, but apparently it's not. It just looks like an aggressive type of game.
Mm-hmm.
But Devin, you're saying not so much.
Yeah, so that is, I think, the biggest thing with it. They actually mention it in the rule book that when you look at this thing and you look at, you're going to have a bunch of mechs and it looks like it's a complete area control. And there is area control in it, but it's not a war game. It is... it's kind of more of a resource management kind of style. But that's the big thing. People think, oh, I'm going to play this war game. I'm going to play this root-like game where you have the asymmetrical powers. And it's not that at all. You're each kind of doing your own things, spreading out, and really the game rewards you for attacking a person twice, and then after that you get no rewards for attacking anybody, right? So
Okay.
it does not turn into just this slugfest.
So the only experience I have with Scythe, and Joe, you're going to be in the same boat here, is Rolling Realms. So the scoring mechanism on Rolling Realms is what is it on Scythe again? It's like you do this top thing to unlock a bottom thing, I believe. Oh
I'm
man, I
not
have to
sure.
look it up
I
now.
don't know if we had scythe in our
In your deck?
So
Yeah.
so like how it works, if you're looking at this, essentially you have top actions and you have bottom actions.
Yes.
At the beginning of the game, you're pretty much only going to be able to do top actions, but as the game goes on, you'll get to, while you do the top action, also do the bottom action, and they just become more powerful. The board has a lot of these different buildings and things, and when you do it, you unlock those abilities becoming more powerful. I don't know them off the top of my head, but essentially like this one here in the trading, you pay your gold, you get to do your trade, and then had you built the armory previously, you would gain whatever this is. I don't.
Okay.
So yeah. very neat. But yeah, so you'll eventually get to do those auxiliary second half actions as the game progresses, and it's pretty strategic. And if I remember right, I could be wrong. I think it's like you can't do the same action twice in a row, so you have the 4 actions and you'll have to hop around.
That makes
I
sense.
could be mistaken by
So
that.
I know that there's different factions in the game. Is this asymmetrical at all, or is it just all
I don't think so. My personal
okay?
opinion. They have small little player power differences. Like I remember one can cross streams or whatnot.
Okay.
Like they have little tweaks, but it is not asymmetrical.
Okay. It's nothing that's going to be breaking the game or anything too crazy.
No, definitely. We'll all essentially be playing, or we all will be playing the exact same game.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
Well,
I'll be looking forward to playing with you guys. This is a game that's always been on the radar, but hasn't ever some I usually look at the BGG website to see how it plays, with two. And this one seems like it would just play better at three and four. So I'm really looking forward to playing with you guys. It'll be a lot of fun.
yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. One that I'm really excited about is Meadow Downstream. So when we were at BGG Spring, we got Meadow to the table, and I feel like we all really liked it. I know I really liked it. It was my top game from that convention, and I own it. It's sitting right out there on my shelves. And this is the expansion to the game that's just come out, and I haven't looked too deep into it. I know it does change up the map a little bit, so now there's a river that the animals will travel down, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to try Meadow downstream.
yeah, so I don't know anything about it at all. Um, I am pulling up here the box, and I see it's going to add some otters and obviously
Yep.
a stream or something in it. Um, but yeah, I really Meadow was a game that I thought looked not dumb, but looked not my interest is the best way I can phrase that. Um,
That sounds like a very Devon way to describe it.
yeah, not my interest, and I ended up just totally enjoying the game. Um, so,
Yeah, so
whoa, now look at that. That does not look like the Meadow I know at all.
no. So that's kind of what's new, right? So obviously there's going to be new cards. There's 80 new cards on there with just different drawings and different tableau building things. Uh, but then you have this kayaking mechanic that lets you kind of go through the stream, and that's just an extra way to gain points. So instead of going to the campfire to kind of reuse those tokens, you go down the kayak and you just kind of explore that way a little bit more.
Hmm.
Yeah, it seems interesting. Seems I know we all enjoyed the base game, so a little bit extra can't hurt.
I probably enjoyed it the least, but I still thought it was a pretty good game, and I'll be interested to see how the expansion kind of adds to it. So looking forward to playing this one.
Yeah, I think Joe, I think you're just excited to see us and play some games.
I really am. You caught me. You're 100% right.
So I know we also have a couple Yui Rosenberg games that we're wanting to play.
We
Both
do.
Framework and Atiwa.
Yes. Is it Atiwa? I think you're right.
Uh,
I know
don't
it's his newest game.
don't ask me to pronounce something correctly.
I do think it is Atiwa. And first thing, I absolutely hate the cover of this game. Um,
Do what? Why?
I think it
That
looks like
seems like
clip
something
art.
you would enjoy, Paul.
No, it looks like straight clip art to me, right? Like, I don't know. But it's a classic Yui kind of looking thing. I don't think any of his games look that great. Um, but his games are definitely ones that it's all about the mechanics, and he has got it locked down. And of course, he's got animals, I'm sure he's got some type of breeding in here.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
see.
there's some type of feeding.
I see some little like a sheep symbol, or
Hmm.
a sheep token, or maybe those are goats. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it's about bats, right?
Hmm.
I think it's about like, I don't honestly know what it's about. I think it's
So they're
protecting.
fruit bats, right?
Yeah,
And then there's lodging and hunting, right, that are destroying their habitats. So these fruit bats, they reforest deforestation, right? So you kind of do your mining, not your mining, but your forcing, all that kind of stuff. And then at the end of the round, from what I understand, those bats will fly out and kind of replenish those areas, um, which is kind of just getting more resources and so you're trying to manage both groups. You want to have some bats that aren't getting displaced and you want to have some commerce with the resources. So it's just balancing both of those um, competing things.
yeah. Okay, well, that is exciting. And then the other one is framework. Um, and I don't know, framework is just this little tile laying game that I think looks like it's going to be a complete blast to play.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it's another UE tile playing game, right? Tile one, and I'm assuming it's kind of just connecting these colors and these pipes, these frames, and not sure.
Yeah, so what I know about it is yeah, it is like connecting the frames, and it's almost like a, I guess, point salady. The different frames are your victory point conditions. So I'll have
Hmm.
to read the rules 100%, but this will be like getting victory points for something to do with green frames, and this will be, I don't know, and so it will be linking the different frames colors together to the victory point scores. Um, so yeah,
Nice.
I don't know. I'm definitely excited to try it.
So, looking at this list, there was one on there that you were very excited for. Joe mentioned it, and then the cat came out of the bag when Shelby said she wanted to play it, Joe's wife, and that's kites. I
Yes.
know nothing about kites. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Joe, do you know anything about kites?
I don't, but Shelby said she wanted to play it, but she wanted us to see what we think about it when we played at
Okay.
BGG.
So I do know, whoops, a little bit about kites here. Um, Essentially, you have little hourglasses that represent your kites, and it is a cooperative game where we are all trying to keep our kites up in the air. And so we'll go around playing cards, and when you play a card, you can flip the hourglass, right? So it's this balance of, I want to play the white card to flip the white hourglass, but only whenever it's properly to flip, right? I don't want to flip
Hmm.
it whenever the sand's all the way up at the top. And so we'll be going in a circle trying to keep all of our kites in the air. And it'll be like, oh, does somebody have the purple? So I don't have a purple. I'm going to play the red and flip the red one. And then Paul goes and it's, I have got the blue. And yeah, I'm excited for the chaos that I think this 5 minute game will bring. And I'm sure tons of laughter too.
Yeah,
That sounds,
one
yeah.
thing we were missing last time was a little bit of the cooperative aspect. And I know I play those games a little bit more than probably you guys do, but I do kind of miss the cooperative, and I'll be really looking forward to this game, us working together. I know we've also played a few times. What is that, the crew?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where we've also, once again, a smaller game that, we can all work together, so we're all not always competing against these. So I'll be really looking forward to this game.
Oh man, I know the crew gives me the worst anxiety, and I'm hoping that this game doesn't do the same.
Yeah, Shelby, Tiwa does look like an awesome UE game, at least in my opinion. But I'm kind of a fanboy. I like a whole lot of his games. A Feast for Odin being my all-time favorite game. So, and I like I like Agricola. I think Patchwork probably is my all-time favorite two-player game. So yeah, I'm just kind of always excited whenever he has a game come out to try it, and that's the two we mentioned. I'm very excited for.
And I did have to add, as one of my games, I did have to add Downforce. So we did have such a good time uh playing Formula D last
Formula Day.
yeah, Formula Day, or however you want to call it. But it was a nice interactive game, and I'm hoping Downforce kind of has that same feel. I don't think it will, but I am a big F1 fan. I'll be really looking forward to seeing how Downforce plays. So, um, there's Formula Day, there's going to be Downforce, and then coming up is a Kickstarter I have coming in hopefully in a few months called I think it's Race 90. But I'll be really looking forward to playing Downforce with you guys, and I'm hoping it's a little bit lighter and quicker game.
So, do you know
Yeah.
anything about Downforce?
No, I think this one I don't know a whole bunch, but I know it's a little bit more card-driven mechanic where Formula, D was, moving your upshifting the gears, rolling the bigger dice. I think this one may have a little bit more strategy and a little bit less luck mechanic. However, I can't speak to it too much because I haven't read the rules yet, but looking forward to seeing where this one goes.
Yeah, I am too. Formula D came at the perfect time for us, right? We had just done like three brain burning games in a row. I think we honestly just came off of our first playthrough of Arc Nova ever.
Mm-hmm.
And we needed something. We went to the library. Joe spotted Formula D, and we just went and laughed for 45 minutes straight, and it was awesome. I honestly, memory I will always have, right? I'm not going to say that's the best game ever and everybody needs to go out and purchase it, but in that moment, that was the game that we really needed to play.
And it really started off just perfectly, right? We were like, all right, Paul, here's your dice. Go ahead and roll it. And I had it and rolled it. And what I get? A one on the very first one, right?
So his start, he stalled out, and it was
Called
all
out.
it was all downhill from there. But what I do like about some of these games and the list that we come up with, and why I like to have some of these is we have a racing game in here, gives us something different. We have the cooperative kites, instead of always the head to head, point salad. It's nice to have a race to the finish line, kind of game too, within these. So I'm really looking forward to, playing these different styles of games throughout the week.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about racing games, still, there's one that I put on there. It's called Long Shot, the dice game, and I don't know if you've seen anything about it, Joe, but um,
That's the horse racing one, right?
it is the horse racing one, and I really wanted to play this one. Devin and I went to a convention a couple months ago, and somebody had it, and I was going to go up to them and ask them, and by the time we finally got to him, he was about to leave, so he couldn't get it to play. But honestly, with this game, I think this is one. um so Devin, I think it's actually an old or newer one. I think that might be an older version of this game. um but I think this is one that somebody's going to have at the table, and this is one that we go join, just somebody, because it is a 1 to 8 player game. And I don't know, I think you get that kind of gambling mechanic, that kind of just keep pushing your luck, and those games are always just more fun with more people.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I do kind of know this game in that, like, even though I might specifically be the purple horse, I could be going for the green horse to actually win. Like, you don't have
Yes.
to be going for your horse to win. And so, like,
Hmm.
I could do some sabotage to get in the way of blue so that green goes a little bit further. If that's the game I'm thinking it is.
I'm pretty sure that is. I'm pretty sure that that's what this game is.
Okay, yeah. I then I am excited for that.
But like I said, I think this is one that if we can get more than just us, so if you're at BGGcon and you want to play this with us, let us know because this is one that I think the more players, the better.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so talked about a whole bunch of like smaller little filler games. I really want to play My Father's Work. Um, Game that came out this year, possibly last year. I'm not 100% on that. And I know it's a very massive game. I know it's probably going to take us 4 hours to play. I know it takes a tablet, which is something we typically steer clear with. We're, keep those electronics out of our board games type of people. But I'm just really excited to try it.
Yeah, this is one that honestly, this one for me, the theme just seems awesome, right? You're building this creature, you're making some creature, and generations pass and it gets passed down from generation to generation, and then you keep on working on it, so on and so forth, and you're looking at the journal that you had written before, and it just seems like a really cool experience. Now, you mentioned it has a tablet. I played I can't Return to Dark Tower
Mm-hmm.
not too long ago, which is all app based. And in a way, I kind of felt like the app hindered it a little bit, and I'm hoping it's not the same experience as that.
Right. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the game. I know you play over 3 generations. So yeah, you're doing these experiments and you learn, and then when a generation ends and you pass on, right, you become the child or the son, and
Hmm.
carry on your father's work, and you only get to keep the information that was logged in the journal. It's not like you keep everything. And so I don't know,
Hmm.
I am excited to try it. I know that the biggest thing that the um, tablet thing adds is some storytelling, some hidden events, some of that kind of things. You can find various things and whatnot. And so, yeah, just overall, I'm super pumped for it.
And I will say, I think having a tablet is a good plan because when we did Return to Dark Tower, it was on a cell phone. And in order for everybody to get the story and for stuff like that, we all had to kind of crowd around and be right next to each other or pass it around. And then it's not the same to experience it all at once, right? Just kind of go from there. So, yeah, I'm real excited to try that one out.
Okay, what else do we really have on this list here that we're wanting to play? Um,
So, Devin, you really want to play one of the T games,
I
and
do.
Joe, you were going to be in charge of picking one of the T games. So I'm going to let that up to y'all.
Yeah, Joe. So first and foremost, have you picked it? Because I really just told them I want to play one of the T games. People highly praise them. I think it's Boards and Dice put them on. They put on a lot of or publish a lot of really good games. And yeah, I really want to play them because I have not experienced them, and I just didn't care which one we played. Like, let's just play one.
Well, I think you guys are asking me because none of you want to pronounce any of the T games.
So I think you have um, Teotihuacan, and I'm going off my head, right? Tawantinsuyu and
Tawan Tensuyu,
There's
I think.
there's
Tio
Tazol.
Tazolkin.
Sulkin.
Zolkin.
I
I
think that
think you
was
don't pronounce the
Smolkin.
T in that one.
Yep.
And then there's like Tio something. And of course, they all have tags. I know one's like Obelisk of the Sun and something like that.
I think as we live decide, I think my decision will probably be that Zolkin, you
So
know.
that's actually one that I was kind of thinking of as well, honestly. It looks super cool, and from what I was reading about it, there's this kind of gear in the middle of the board, and so it's a I believe it's a worker placement game, and so you place your worker on this gear, and the gear turns on these rounds, and so wherever the gear ends up, that is actually the move that you get to take. So I like the games that have a little twist on the worker placement mechanism, and I from what I've heard, this one does it pretty well.
Yeah, so I don't know a ton about it, but I do know there's the gears that Paul was talking
Yes.
about. I know that there has to be a sort of strategy on, well, I have my worker here, but really I need to get over to the whatever blue area, and so like
Mhm.
I have to transfer and just make sure that my positioning is correct to get to where I want to go. Yeah, so yeah, I'm down with that one. Joe picked it, so Zolkin is the one that we will play, and I think it's probably the easiest one to pronounce. So that's probably what Joe went for. I'm all right with it.
It may have
I'm
been.
good with
I was looking at the other ones before we hopped on the call, and I was like, Teotihuacan, maybe. So yeah.
So it's funny because I don't know if you know this, Paul, but at BGGcon, the very first game that we ever played was Trismegistus,
yes.
and that is actually considered a T game. Same
Really?
designer, same publisher. Yeah, it's one of the T games. It's just not one of the um, Hispanic
That's
themed ones, I
interesting
guess.
because yeah, that's what I was going to say. One of the generally, it's kind of the indigenous theme, right? Like it's that the temples, the gods, all that kind of stuff. And Trismegistus is a completely alchemist, different. So that is kind of surprising.
Yeah. Um, all right, let's see here. Okay, Joe, game you brought up is that you put in our kind of crunchy brain burner category is Dale of Merchants. How much do you know about that?
So I don't know a lot about this game. However, I've been on the fence on just purchasing it and trying it out. It's one of those games that people say actually plays pretty well with 2 to 3, and that's why I brought it up. I believe this has a little some sort of deck or bag building and some drafting and kind of mechanics like that. So I'll be eager just to try it out with you guys because if this plays well with 3, this is something that from what I've seen may play well with 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like a good bag builder. I feel like that's not a mechanic that's used very frequently. Um, so yeah, if it is a bag builder, I'll definitely be excited to try it. I actually thought this was a
Maybe
completely different
more,
game.
yeah, maybe more like deck builder than bag builder, but
Okay.
it's one that we'll see. I definitely like the bag builders too, and like I said, I think it may be just more of the resource building or some sort of hand management, style.
And I can tell you the thing that is sticking out the most to me is this 30-minute playtime, and they have it marked as like a solid 30 minutes, not the 30 to 60 or, whatever. So it looks like it'll be one we can play quickly and possibly, oh, that was fun. Let's set it up again, right? Because we, a lot of times go into these, we don't have a lot of those. We end up with a whole bunch of 2-hour games. And so it's nice to have those little 30-minute fillers and ones that we know will be fun. Again, mentioning that we had some stinkers last time. So yeah, we can kind of avoid that with, all right, let's just go play this.
And from this
So
page, you can tell that it looks like it's 2 to 4, but communities say 2 to 3. I know this game's been around 7 years or so, and looking forward to playing it with you guys.
so
Uh,
funny enough, I didn't realize I thought this was the other merchants game that was on the list. I didn't realize we had two merchants. I had put Merchants of the Dark Road on the list there. Um, so that's kind of what I was thinking of at first, and when I saw this, I was a little confused.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about Merchants of the Dark Road. I know that it's been getting some pretty good praise, and I know that it is on the longer side of games, or the 2 hour mark of games. But yeah, I know we actually had that mini convention that some people
Hmm.
were playing it, and it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I know there's some dice rolling and some contracts, some negotiations. So I think those are all kind of things that we like in games. So yeah, I'm excited to try it. It looks really nice.
Yeah. Okay, so something we haven't talked about, I'm surprised Paul has not brought up, is some roll-in rights.
Yes.
We all know that Paul is a massive fan of roll-in rights, and I
Yes.
actually really enjoy them too. I think Joe is a take it or leave it with roll-in rights for the most part. Like he'll play them and not complain.
Adrian's Wall was one of those, like, it was interesting as a heavier roll and write, but it also could have been played solo. So
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to see what a couple other of these roll and writes on this list. I
So
think,
So
the
what do we
one
have? One or two of them?
the one I would like to really play is Twilight Inscription.
of course, that is one of the biggest games
But
lately.
its biggest size wise, I think is what you were talking about, maybe. But it is a big roll and write. It takes up a ton of space. It takes up more than most board games take. Your own player area is about the size of a normal board game. But I don't think it's as heavy as Hadrian's Wall. It's got a lot of choice, and that's what makes it like feel big. But it's
Hmm.
not. It's just essentially you're gonna have four boards. You choose one. You do your action there. Next round, you choose a different board. Do your action there, and so on. But ultimately, I tried it solo, and I did enjoy it. I think that I like something like Hadrian's Wall a little bit more solo. But what I'm
Hmm.
excited for in that is there is a voting mechanic, there is a war mechanic very similar to Seven Wonders where you battle your two neighbors. And so us playing that 3 player, we actually get to do those things that I did not get to do solo.
So you're mentioning like a voting mechanic. And I know that none of us generally like a game that is kind of a kingmaker, right? So with this voting, is it something that like affects the other players? Is it something
No.
that hinders them? Like,
So from my understanding of it, it's more or less two options, maybe getting a benefit on your navigation board or getting a benefit on your
okay,
exploration board, right? And so we vote. I may vote for navigation because that's more of what I'm building and doing.
okay,
You two may vote on exploration. So we end up doing exploration. So I still get the
I
benefit. It's
see,
just not on the board I chose.
I
Is the
see.
way I kind of understand that it works out.
Yeah,
Uh,
that sounds interesting.
Now, I am not I don't think any of us are Twilight Imperium fans, so I don't know any of the lore. I don't know any of that stuff, but I do know that it has whatever, I'm going to not get the number correct, but like the 20 various Twilight Imperium factions, and they each have little rule breaker abilities, so we'll each have a unique ability and whatnot.
Nice.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I am a maybe in the minority, maybe more people. I really dislike Twilight Imperium. For me, it just didn't quite hit with me. So I'll be eager to see if this has more simultaneous play, like most roll and writes normally do, where a lot of
Hmm.
people get the same actions. I'm really thinking about the Welcome Twos, any of that kind of genre.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a shot. Um, I don't know. To me, a roll and write should be a simple 30-minute game. Not a lot of thinking. That's kind of how I go into them. It's a game that I like to come home to and literally just kind of cross stuff off. That's I'd rather do that than watch a 30-minute TV show a lot of time. Now, saying that, you just go into this a little bit different mindset, and I'm excited to try it out. I like that roll and writes are progressing into heavier games. I think that's good for other gamers. Um, I just don't necessarily think that's what a roll and write is to me.
Yeah, and
But we'll see.
which is perfectly fine. I will say, I think so. When we did Hadrian's Wall, the big thing was um, we went into it blind. We essentially got
Yes.
the game, knew it was popular, read the rule book, played it. We were expecting a 30-minute roll and write, and what we got was a 2-hour brain burning game, and it was at the end of our day, right?
Yes.
We were kind of not ready for it. This, we'll at least know, like, this is a 2-hour game. It's 100% going to take us 2 hours to play this game. So we know for that going in. I think that's a big thing, not having the 30-minute roll and write expectation. That, okay, we're playing Twilight Inscription, it's going to be 2 hours. And look, I mean, I'm telling you, look at the size of this thing. It is a full-on board game. That is your player area, right? Like, that is yours, and we all have one.
You're saying this is
Yeah.
a little bit chunkier and thicker than Harvest Dice?
Yeah, I'll say a tiny bit, but Harvest Dice was fun. I enjoyed beating y'all in it for sure.
I think you can say that about almost any of the games.
Yeah, but
So
you should have seen his pumpkins. His pumpkins looked terrible.
Hey, it's all about that final victory point total. But yeah, so that the other one we have that I'm kind of excited for that we actually didn't get to in BGG Spring is Three Sisters.
Three Sisters, yeah, Three Sisters. So with Three Sisters, it's I've noticed a lot of kind of farming themes coming along in some roll and writes. But yeah, Three Sisters is just kind of this you collect water, you put your water here, you have seeds, you plant them here, and then you use the water from here to plant to water the seeds, and then you get the
That seems like
feed.
that seems like a game if we enjoy that my wife, and I would probably enjoy to play. If it's
Yeah, and
the planting more style roll and rights and the agriculture could be pretty neat.
Yes.
yeah, so it seems like a really fun game, and like Devin said, we didn't get to it at a BGG Spring just because it was out, and I've actually looked for it, and I believe it's out of print, and I think they're making more, but it's just one that seems really nice, and it's going to fit the November month perfectly, doing all of our squash.
Now, this is to also go with y'all's expectation. I'm not sure you're aware. This is more of the Hadrian's Wall side of roll and rights. This is
It is.
the heavy side. I think it's much heavier than Twilight Inscription for sure. It may not be as big, but it is definitely heavier. You really have to plan out your stuff, which again I'm very excited for. And we can.
Someone may need to update our Google Docs to change it from featherweight fillers.
I think that was Paul, and I actually I moved it out of there, and then Paul moved it back into there.
So I will say, I just looked up Hadrian's Wall and Twilight Inscription. It is lower on the BGG weight scale than both of those.
Okay.
But you are right. There is a lot of you need to collect all this to do this, and then collect this to do that. So I think there's not as much choice in this one as the other ones, but there's still quite a bit of planning like the other ones.
Yeah, and it won't take us 2 hours at least, right?
Yeah, I don't think it will.
So, what other big games were we really planning? I don't.
We can go over just a little, like a quick list of some of the other ones. I know Brass, Birmingham was one of the ones that we want to play. Just to go over a few of these other ones. Planet Unknown is something that I'm also looking forward to playing with you guys too. Did you guys have any other top level ones that you're looking forward to?
One that was really kind of interested in is the Search for Planet X, and Devin actually put that one on there. It's a deduction game, similar to Cryptid. Uh, at BGGcon 2019, Devin and I tried Cryptid, and it was such a fun game. I literally, as soon as we finished it, I got online, ordered it immediately, and it was at my house the next day. It was just a game that I was so surprised at a game. It was my first deduction game, and I haven't really found a game like it since. I've played Black Sonata solo. It's a good deduction game, but I want that kind of group feel to it. So I'm really excited to try Search for Planet X.
Yeah. You mentioned Brass. That is a game I have definitely wanted to try. I don't know exactly what it's ranked on BGG, but I know it's one of the top games in there. It's within the top like three or so. So I'm definitely excited to try that one. The other one I know I want to try is Maracaibo, and solely because Paul and I recently within the last 6 months played Great Western Trail, and I know that
Hmm.
it's had a second edition and is now having Great Western Trail Argentina, and we're way behind the boat on all that, but we really enjoyed the game. I honestly think it's one of my man. It's really high up there on my game list. So I want to try Maracaibo because I know it's in that same vein.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it, and a lot of people. I mean, if you like Alexander Pfister, a lot of people say that that's one of his best games. So a lot of people say theme wise, it's maybe not the best with colonizing and all that, but it's supposed to be a good game.
Um, I don't know any others you guys really want to touch on.
I mean, we've got a couple more featherweights in there. I don't know if you guys know much about those, but it's nothing too exciting. Real excited to kind of just get to play some games with you guys.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And if anyone watching, wants to play, one of these higher player count games with us, definitely let us know beforehand. Long shot, like Paul said, I think would be fun if we, had 6 people or so. But yeah, just really looking forward to coming down and, playing an extra day or two on these games.
Yeah, do that one, maybe get some downforce, all of those just high energy, exciting games, which actually maybe leads me to the last one, Devin, Blood on the Clock Tower. Um, that is one that I know you've played. I really want to play it. Joe, I know you're not the biggest social deduction fan, um, but I think I think that's one that we have to try.
Yeah, for sure. I have played it. I completely love it. I think it is dang near a perfect social deduction game, and I'm sure that I haven't seen postings, but I'm sure there's going to be games going on all weekend or all week long. And so yeah, to just drop in once, play a game, it take about an hour and a half or so. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think that's really all that we have. But like Joe mentioned, if you guys want to set something up, let us know. Send us a message, drop a comment here. If there's games that you think we should try out that we would really like, same thing. Drop a message, put it in the comments, and yeah, we're just super excited.
Yeah, so I think that's all we have. Appreciate anybody that watched this, checked it out. Us talking about games. That's what we love to do.
Yeah, for sure. So, like always, make sure you're comment, liking, subscribe. If you're not subscribed to Joe over at Board Games for Two, go ahead and do that also. Anything helps, and we're just going to keep on doing what we're doing.
Okay, we'll see y'all later.
All right.